Brew Strong is brought to you by Blickman Engineering, home of the top-tier brewing stand. Visit them online at blickmanengineering.com.
Brewers, it's time for the beer radio you've been looking for. This is the show that dispels myths, tackles the toughest topics, and makes no apologies for geeking out on beer. Hosted by two guys that drink before they think. Jamil Zainasheff and John Palmer. This is Brew Strong.
Hey, howdy, hey, my brewing brothers and sisters. Greetings. Oh, man, it's like Palmer is just here.
Yeah, and he, got handsomer and lost a bunch of weight.
Right.
It's a huge upgrade.
Doesn't smell as bad. I mean, really.
Got LASIK?
Got LASIK. He can see. He can brew. It's a miracle. It's an absolute freaking miracle. I'm just saying. No, we got Ken from Device here. We got my good friend Matt, homebrewer here as well, and of course Scott with two T's.
I'm telling you that no one has one. Show me the maniac with one freaking T in his name.
Is the paper towel company with one T?
Absolutely not.
I'm pretty sure.
Dude, no, it is not.
I think it is.
I'm pretty sure Scott Towel has one T.
I'm looking it up.
Yeah, it does. It does.
Do that.
There you go.
Bull crap.
And that's what matters right there.
Two T's. Definitely two T. Yeah, because there are no people with one T. Do you think the one guy with one T started a paper company?
He should have.
I bet you it was one T, and then they said, you know what? Let's bow to pressure and add another T. I mean, really. Probably cost that company millions to add the other T.
It was worth it.
A lot of ink, a lot of trouble.
Ken, is your name with one N or two?
One.
Right, because there are no people with two, right?
Yes, there are.
You'd be amazed.
There are not.
You would be amazed. People will screw anything up.
Right.
Yeah, yes, but they're screwing it up. That's my point. Like, I'm sure there is a Scott with one T. He's wrong. He's spelling his name incorrect.
There's probably a Ken with two T's, but he's probably in Ireland.
Okay. Probably.
A Ken with two T's? Is that right? Yeah.
Right. Kent.
Little Kenny McGilloway.
Speaking of people that spell their names in strange ways, we got Blickman with a B and L, C and H and M, and I believe two N's. BlickmanEngineering.com.
What a freak. Two N's?
Yeah, two N's. You know, you got to make sure there's enough N's to go around for everybody. You know, you can't be hogging the N's.
Exactly.
Well, you're hogging the T's with the two T's. Do you really need two T's? If it was one T, we would all understand how to pronounce your name. You got to use two, though. Everybody named Scott's got to use two. Here you are, hogging all the T's.
You know, you're right.
All those other people.
But what if I'll just drop them? I'm Sco.
You know all those Eds we got out there. Could have been Teds, but no. You've been using up the T's. Fucking shitload of Eds out there now.
Ska, why would it be Sco? Shouldn't it just be Ska?
Ska. No, that's SKA. That's like a genre of music.
I know. I understand the whole rude boy movement. I'm just saying that if you're Scott, you drop it. Ska.
Ska. Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah, it'd be Ska.
I mean, unless you're gonna put like the long O, the line above it,
like a Swedish.
Well, not an umlaut. It'd be a sk. Yeah.
Well, and speaking of people using up a bunch of T's, we got my good friend Matt here, who's using up two T's as well.
Yeah, my microphone's on, so it doesn't matter.
I don't know. Use your mic, Bev.
You turn on Matt's microphone too.
No, I'll tell you, if I was still homebrewing, I'd be lusting after the new Blickman G2 series.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. I'm being a little out of it, and I saw that and I said, oh my goodness. So what have they done now? It's the new generation of Blickman kettles.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah.
That Blickman guy always coming out with all sorts of innovations, all sorts of new stuff. It's like he's thinking. It's like he's working. It's like he wants to come up with stuff that you want to buy.
Well, he's innovating.
He's innovating your brew day. There you go. That's one heck of a dude right there.
He's now talking about hogging ends. 2 ends in innovation, 2 ends in Blickman.
Yes.
Only so many letters.
He's using up all the N's. I'm telling you, if it wasn't, we got so many Eds out there. If it wasn't for him, we'd have more Neds. I'm just saying, we'd have more Teds and more Neds. If it wasn't for all you people using up all the T's and the N's, it's just crazy.
Now I feel like a selfish dick. You make a good point.
Well,
we weren't going to say anything, but
all you Eds listening, forgive me, please.
There you go. I'm just saying, families. They had to settle. If you have a child named Ed, I know you had to settle. I'm just saying. All right. Speaking of settling, John Palmer's not here. So we've settled for my good friend Ken and my good friend Matt.
You cut me to the core, Jamil.
Why?
You settled.
That's right. I settled. Hey, you should be happy I settled, man.
I'm always happy to be here.
Ken is the owner, brewer, person from janitor from Device Brewing Company in Sacramento. He's been on the show many times before. My good friend Matt, he's a home brewer from Vacaville.
I've never been on the show before.
Never been on. He's sat in, but finally convinced him that he should insert some sage homebrew advice as we talk about. Ken was bringing up during a previous break about what kinds of things homebrewers will come in and ask at breweries. They'll not have found the Brewing Network. Oh my God! So that they come in and they're just like, well, I got a question about this, got a question about that. They've struggled with this problem, that problem, and thought it might be interesting to answer some of those questions for some of the brewers who have not found the Brewing Network before. Maybe we do it, one time here, real quick, knock it out in an hour, and then they don't have to go to Device or Heretic or anywhere anymore. They can just get off the internet.
They can do it right from their own cubicle.
That's right. All right, so Ken, let's start off with this. What's the number one question that the homebrewers come in and ask you about?
They want to know what hops I use. Oh. That's the number one question. Whoa, wow, what hops are in this? Wouldn't you like to know?
Is that no matter the beer, or is it just the pale ales and the IPAs?
Do you not tell them?
I tell them we use a proprietary blend called a whole lotta. We use the whole lotta hops.
You use the whole lotta. Yeah.
Here's the whole lotta.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's from the Yakima Valley, and it's whole lotta. No, I don't tell them every hop we put in it. I leave a little bit to the imagination. Typically, I'm more than happy to tell people that we love to bitter with Magnum, and that we like to use Simcoes and Mosaics and things like that, and Amarillos for our aroma hops, and anything in between. That's for them to figure out.
Huh?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah. I know,
Scott. Huh?
I know.
See, he got a huh for me as well. I'm just saying.
I mean, in reality, I think I could take my recipe and upload it to the internet, and very few different brewers would be able to absolutely replicate what we do. And it's extremely difficult to replicate a recipe somewhere else. Only the most trained professional can replicate a recipe at their brewery.
Are you giving him the because you were a proponent of just full disclosure?
Yeah, I just opened kimono. I just don't give a crap.
Well, what's your
what color is your kimono?
See through.
Purple vein. Yeah. Fleshy color with purple veins. Yes.
Is that your flesh-colored kimono, or are you just happy to see me?
Right. No. Well, what do you think of that, Matt? You're a home brewer. Homebrewers do a lot of sharing of recipes and stuff like that. Do you go to places? Do you ever ask, hey, what hops are in this? And if somebody was like, I'm not going to tell you, I mean, what would you think?
Oh, it feels real stingy when you are experienced enough to know that a lot of the startup breweries will share that information with you, and then you go to one that you were excited about and you travel to, and the next thing you know, they're like, oh, we're not going to tell you. And then you're like, well, I'm just trying to learn. I'm not competing with your business, but
well, how many
a good product when I take the time to put a whole weekend into a brew. I want it to turn out nice. I want something that I'm going to share with my friends.
Sure, but it can turn out nice with your own creativity. I mean, how many KFCs do you walk into and ask them what special herbs and spices they use in their fried chicken?
True, but we're not talking about KFCs. We're talking about
really
a unique mom and
the
pop.
The question you want answered?
Yeah, every place we go is different.
Did you walk into the Coca-Cola factory and say, hey... what makes Coca-Cola taste like Coca-Cola?
Well, a lot of people did do that. Yeah, that's like became a thing that they wouldn't tell.
Right? Well, but brewing's a little different. We tend to get more into that. But I really don't care one way or another. I'm kind of the same thing. I'll tell them, but on the other hand, I'm kind of like, well, just go make up your own. Just try a few things, but I can see Matt's point as well. Is, you get in there and you're kind of feeling like, well, why wouldn't you? But I will say this, Matt. There are more and more people now competing. People, and I've seen this a couple of times now with Heretic, where somebody will ask for a recipe. And then, lo and behold, they start brewing it, and they open a brewery, and then they're brewing the exact same recipe. They just take the recipe and brew it somewhere else. And some of them, I have seen some, where they take our description off our website.
Oh, no way.
And use that description on their website.
Really?
They change like one or two words. I mean, you're talking like 100 and some odd word description, or like 100-word description, and like one or two words are different. I'm like, you can't tell me that's coincidence.
No kidding. Is that in California or out of state brewery?
This one's that I'm talking about in particular was international.
Okay. Wow.
And it's just like, oh, come on.
Well,
just do it yourself. But see, I think the way Matt's approaching it, the way I'm approaching it, we'd be like, and I bet you the way, Ken, you'd be approaching it. If you ask somebody, what hops are you using? You're just curious, not that you want to copy it, but you want to learn what kind of hops are giving this kind of flavor, so I can use that information for, my future brews, adjusting it this way or that,
Right. In the beginning, it's I want to be able to do what you do. That builds excitement for the home brewing. And then once I'm confident doing that, then it's, I want to branch out. I'll put my own flair on it, and then when I put my own twist on it, that's when the imagination kicks in. And I'm like, you know what? I could do this. This could be something bigger than the crap job I got.
Well, yeah, but not everybody is also as diligent as we are. So, I learned how to brew double IPA, through listening to Vinny and giving out clone recipes of like Pliny, right? And so there's a lot of people who did, and what I ended up doing was, when we started making a double IPA, it was like, well, there's no way in the world I'm going to use the same hops that he's using. I got to use something so completely different that it doesn't taste anything like Pliny, because I would feel so bad if I did. It's bad enough, and I don't think he cares, but, I would feel bad just taking his, using his clone recipe. So that's how we came up with Cousin. It's like, well, what completely different hops can we use other than what he's using? And, try and make a good double IPA. Because you can't, somebody can't own a style totally. It's like somebody's making a good porter. That doesn't stop you from making a good porter. I mean, really, you can't worry so much about that. At least with the hoppy beers, you got a little more to work with.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I've had a lot of people come in, and it's my own fault for as long as I did.
making such good beer.
For as long as I did.
Such excellent hoppy beer.
Well, it's just work in the tap room.
Oh.
Being that accessible, it's my own fault. But I've had a number of people over the year and a half now that we've had the tap room open to the public, who have come in and they start asking me questions. They start asking, recipe questions, process questions, this and that. And then lo and behold, at the end of the conversation, I'm
opening my
brewery. Right. And I'm like, you didn't start off with that comment.
Right,
so,
right.
I don't know. I just, the reality is that we worked very hard to make our beers taste and smell the way they taste.
Right.
And we don't want to just say, well, here's the key. Go experiment, have a few off batches, and figure it out.
Yeah, I think though that anybody who isn't able to pick up that information from all the sources that are already out there, like you did, from all the other sources and experimenting as a homebrewer and figuring it out on yourself, those people who are relying on just copying somebody else, they're going to fail. Those are half-assed brewers who are not going to do very well. I mean, I can see, trying to clone a beer as a home brewer, and you say, oh, okay. So I was able to do it. Now I understand how it works. Let me go create my own. But those people that are just going to open a brewery and just want to copy everybody else's stuff, they'll fail. They'll fail miserably.
I've had other brewers from other breweries, in the greater area, just point blank ask me, questions like that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, like what? So what are you using to get that aroma?
Mm-hmm.
And I know, okay, well, I already know you're a brewer. We're friends. I get it. Why are you asking me that? You know what I mean? It's flattering, but at the same time, it's like, well, it's kind of personal information.
I think you worry too much about these pathetic people that would just copy you.
Of course I do.
Yeah, you worry too much. You're a worrier.
I am.
All right, let's do this. I'm worried that my glass is empty, so I think we take another break. I go get another beer. I get totally out of control in the rest of the show, and we have that fun right after this.
Tonight is the night.
We bring the creature to life, Dr. Blickmanstein?
Yes, J.P. Gore. Everything is perfect for my next fermented creation.
My daughter, the storm is too far away. We'll never have enough power to isomerize the creature's alpha acid.
Yes, J.P. Gore, we will. For I have in my possession the Tower of Power.
Blickman's new Tower of Power is the evolution of automation. Control hot liquor, sparge, and mash temps like a pro. The Tower of Power is a high-quality gas-fired rim system that works with your current brewing setup. With ultra precision, the tower can hold your mash to 1/2 of a degree Fahrenheit. Precision and repeatability. The Tower of Power is the answer to automatic, fast ramp times. See more at BlickmanEngineering.com. Bring your next creation to life with the Tower of Power.
Dr. Blickmanstein, with the Tower of Power, you can probably give me an afternoon at the pub to enjoy a pint.
Don't be silly, J.P. Gore. We have beer to brew.
Since the first time the Brewing Network microphones turned on, More Beer was behind it. More Beer sponsors the programming on the BN because, like you, they love brewing. And like the Brewing Network, they love sharing their knowledge. Morebeer.com isn't just a website to place your next equipment or ingredient order. Morebeer.com also gives you access to free beer information that will make you a better brewer. Go to morebeer.com and click into the Learning Center. You'll find podcasts, technical facts, video tutorials, and more, including access to The Buzz, More Beer's social network of more than 5,000 members. And some of them might even be crazier about beer than you are. Get over to morebeer.com today and take advantage of The Buzz, the forum, the Learning Center, and make sure you're signed up to receive the newest More Beer catalog. More Beer, bringing you absolutely everything for beer making.
When I order a beer, I want my server to know more about it than I do. I want someone who enjoys good beer and loves helping others enjoy it too. I want someone who knows how to pour a perfect pint for every beer style. I want a Cicerone.
The Cicerone Certification Program is creating the type of people who help you enjoy great beer. Home brewers and craft beer lovers know beer is more flavorful and complex than ever, and it takes some serious knowledge to store and serve beer right. Cicerones know beer. There are 3 levels in the Cicerone program: Certified Beer Server, Certified Cicerone, and Master Cicerone. Cicerones are truly the sommeliers of beer. The best beer locations have a Certified Cicerone on staff. Relaxed and unpretentious. Cicerones are tested on storing and serving beer, beer styles, flavor and tasting, the brewing process and ingredients, and pairing food with beer. Learn more about your next beer guide at cicerone.org. Certified Cicerone, because it takes top talent to present a perfect pint.
Are you a member of the American Homebrewers Association? Well, you should be. Members of the AHA can focus on brewing beer, and the AHA takes care of the rest. The American Homebrewers Association advocates on behalf of homebrewers like you to legalize the hobby in all 50 states and make sure that beer laws make sense. Plus, there are many great benefits that come with your AHA membership, like AHA member deals that give you awesome deals at bars, restaurants, breweries, and more. Zymergy Magazine and eZymergy for tons of articles, how-tos, easy-to-follow recipes, and news about the hobby you love. And access to the members-only content on homebrewersassociation.org. But the AHA can't do it without your support. Join today so the American Homebrewers Association can keep fighting for your homebrewing rights. Visit homebrewersassociation.org or join now from the homepage of the Brewing Network website. Relax. Don't worry. It's the American Homebrewers Association.
Back to your hosts, Jamil Zainasheff and John Palmer. Putting the testicles in technical. This is Brew Strong.
All right, we're back. I did want to say, one of my favorite things every year is the... Oh, come on. You can guess it. Come on.
Homebrewers Conference?
Homebrewers Conference. Every year.
First shot right out of the box.
There you go. That's what Ken's Ken. This year in San Diego. And I'll tell you, if I was not a AHA member, I couldn't go to the conference. That's part of going to the conference. You got to be an AHA member. So, sign up for the AHA. Go to thebrewingnetwork.com. Click on that AHA link. A little slice goes to the Brewing Network. Big slice goes to the AHA. But for that, you're going to get an organization that's looking out for homebrewers everywhere. You're going to get the Zymergy magazine. You're going to get the pub discount program, which you can use at Ken's place. You can use it at my place. And many places all around. It's quite the deal and does good for homebrewers everywhere. So check them out. The American Homebrewers Association, AHA. And I'll see you at the conference. Ken's going to be there. His child's going to be self-sufficient by then. His newborn's going to be just totally able to handle it on her own. Right?
Absolutely.
There you go. All right. So we're talking about stuff that people come into the pub. Did I say I was going to say something after the break? I was going to say something. Yes? Did I say that?
No, you just said you were going to go, get another glass full.
Go get another beer. Yeah, there you go. I was going to snap off a fresh piece.
Which you definitely did.
He sent me for it. Yeah.
Hey, they were like 20 seconds. I'm like, All right. So Matt brought me my beer. Thank you, Matt.
I'm the beer fetcher. It's okay.
Beer. All right. Another common question you mentioned, Ken, because your beers are nice and well attenuated. You get a lot of homebrewers coming in and go, well, how do you get it to attenuate? Or they bring you beer samples that aren't well attenuated.
Yeah, the poorly fermented beer is the number one flaw that I get with. I mean, we get a lot of homebrewers that come in and say, "Oh, here's a bottle, take it home. Next time I'm in here, tell me what you thought." And at first, I used to say, "Well, it was pretty good, nice work." And then I said, "You know what? I'm not doing them any good." Unless it really is a good beer, which in some cases
not
it
doing
is.
Any favors.
Not doing them any favors.
Mollycoddling.
No, I'm brutally honest now, and I say, well, I was packed with diacetyl. It was terrible, but it can get better. Well, I mean, I don't think I'm doing them a favor if I tell them it was just fine and it wasn't.
Right.
Typically, it's poor fermentation, and I think that what I see a lot is poor pitch rates, and I always tell them, MrMalty.com. That's the Bible for pitching.
That and temperature control.
Temperature controls everything. Well, I think I set my house thermostat to 68 degrees, and I stick it in the closet, and blah blah. I say it doesn't matter. You need an enclosure. You need something where you can really, really tightly control that fermentation temp. Because if you can't, your fermentation is going to be all over the place. And it comes out in the beer in an ugly way.
Well, Matt, your beers are turning out good. I mean, What was the thing that took you from? I'm sure your first beers weren't so great, and then they got better and better. What was the thing that made them better and better?
Oh, the first ones are horrible. My friends would comment, "There's floaty things in them," and
there's dead hookers floating in your beer.
Talking to you guys, and the biggest thing was temperature control. It was isolating a spot and nailing down the proper temperature for the beer, making that the focus. I mean, there's a lot of forgiveness in the brewing portion. There's not very much when it comes down to the fermentation. That's when it comes down to brass tacks, basically.
Yep.
And you really have to nail that down and be patient. I've always wanted to rush my homebrews. In the beginning, I rushed my homebrews. And now it's, set and forget. Walk away from it. There's a specific amount of time you at least have to wait. And then come back to it. And every time you're going to get rewarded as long as you have a good pitch rate and you were clean in the beginning. Your temperature is going to do it for you in the end.
Right. Oh, yeah, we were going to do a show, Brewing with Style, on cream ale. Matt makes a really nice cream ale.
Good. Well, so we'll delay that, and then
until
we can have his.
Yeah, if you can make us a cream ale for the show.
Please.
That'd be great, because otherwise we don't have any examples. All right.
Yeah, no commercial places make it, so we got to get homebrewers to do it.
Yes.
Well, they don't make it right.
Yeah, right. Yeah, there are. It's kind of like Kolsch. People brewing beers, and then they say it's a Kolsch or a cream ale or something like that. And it's not. I mean, it's a fine beer, a nice beer, good beer, great drinking beer, but not really an example of the style. Well, those styles are very tricky.
Well, when my cream ale lost to Pabst at GABF, that's when I realized I wasn't doing it right.
Right? Yeah. Like Pabst was a cream ale or something, right?
It's a blue ribbon beer. I wouldn't feel too bad about it.
No, I didn't. Well, they had two beers that took. I think they took gold and bronze, two different Pabst beers for the cream ale competition.
Wow.
Yeah. So I said I am not doing it right.
So can I use PBR then as one of the commercial examples? It's a JBF gold medal winner.
Yeah, that doesn't really mean anything. But yeah, I think you could. I would wait until Matt has his.
Yeah. Okay.
Make your cream ale. I thought that was a good cream ale.
Oh, thank you. I got that from a buddy of mine named Brad. I can't remember his last name. He's a good friend, but I forgot all about him years ago. Friends come and go. That's how it works.
Yeah.
He gave me his recipe and he left, and I'll forget all about him.
Well, I thought it was all made. I think cream ale is a lot about, certain basic ingredients, certain basic style, and then you gotta make the beer well.
Right. And I used to worry about cleanliness, and what I learned most of all is if you just stick to your routine and you clean in the beginning, clean in the end, it's really easy, and it's always going to pan out for you. It's not something to be paranoid about.
All right, so now you're on the hook to brew beer for Brewing with Style, the Jamil show.
Okay, cream ale's up next.
Cream ale. You tell us when you have that ready, and then we'll schedule the show.
All right.
There you go. What other kind of questions do you get, Ken?
I get a lot of...
or what other issues do you see with homebrew?
Well, it's interesting because people come in and they'll... One of my favorite things that they'll do is they'll ask me what's wrong with their beer, but not provide me with the beer. That's my favorite. They'll describe the beer verbally with their hands.
Right.
They're all over the place.
Yes.
And they'll go, what did I do wrong?
It's fix my car. It's making this noise.
Right. Exactly. My car's doing this sound. What is it? I would say definitely a lot of people are really trying to find a crisp, bright hop character without it being muddled and overly busy or harshly bitter, and also just getting rid of the diacetyl. I find more and more homebrews that come through that people bring me a bottle. They say, take this home. Next time I see you, tell me what was wrong. I would say 8 or 9 times out of 10, it's a big butter bomb.
Wow.
People they're not given their proper time for the derest.
I think a lot of people are afraid to bring me beers. And so when they bring me beers, it's like, well, yeah, wow, that's pretty good. So I think, I don't know. I'm not seeing as many bad ones, or maybe I just don't notice it. Maybe after drinking Scott's beer, I'm just like, eh.
Oh, you mean the beer that beat you? And
yeah, that's right. That's right, you bastard.
It's a little intimidating delivering a homebrew to Jamil.
Oh, no kidding.
And waiting for that disapproving scowl when he takes his first sip. You're like,
disapproving scowl.
I'm horrible. I'm going home. I'm taking my stuff with me.
Well, I will tell you, Ken, I know exactly what you're saying about people coming to you and saying, well, I got this, that, the other thing. Because I get a lot of email where people will describe the problem for their beer. And I got one recently where somebody was asking me, they said, well, there's this alcohol note. I switched to all grain, and I'm getting this alcohol note that I never got before. And all the beers are right around 5%, but it tastes, this alcohol note. I'm thinking, well, it's not alcohol, is what I got to be thinking. And so I'm like, I can't tell you. I got to lean back on my usual suspects, which is contamination, or, some sort of fermentation problem. So, yeah, I don't know. If I could taste it, I could tell you what I think it is. And so I'm always like, well, go have somebody else taste it.
Well, people will...
Well, when they live far away. I'm not like they come in with a bottle. I'm like, go have somebody else taste it. I'm talking about, they live around the other side of the world, and they're asking.
Well, I will get a lot of people that'll say, hey, I get this character out of it, I get that, and I'm only using 4 ounces of the... And I'm like, this means nothing to me. Mm-hmm. I have no idea what your batch size is. Oh, it's 10 gallons. Okay, well, it's been a minute. And I haven't brewed 10 gallons in a long time. And not because I wouldn't love to spend a Saturday, in my garage brewing 10 gallons with absolutely no pressure to sell it. But, if you're going to, I'll tell you, if you're a home brewer and you're going to come in and you're going to ask questions, you're going to say, hey, my black IPA is coming out just really harshly roasty, and I'm using 13 ounces of Carafa 3. Dude, go to your software, look up the percentage, and when you go in armed with that information to talk to a professional brewer about what's wrong with this, come in with a percentage. It's so much easier for the brewer because then at any scale it makes no difference. 90% base malt is 90% base malt no matter what size your batch is.
Well, that's another good point. I think, come armed with percentages when you want to talk recipe with somebody.
Don't come in with pounds or ounces because then the brewer's sitting there going, I have no idea.
I usually go with, well, did you use my recipe? And then they say, well, I'm like, well, there's your problem right there.
Do you direct them to your bookshelf with all the signed copies?
Right. I'm like, I could sell you a copy right here. And then you could use that. And that would solve your problem. I am sure of it.
It's like, and what about Bob? He goes, there's a book. And he goes over and the entire bookshelf is nothing but that book. Here it is.
Oh, let's
my book.
See here. Yes, that is exactly how I work things. Absolutely. Sounds perfect. All right. You know what would sound perfect right now? Another break. It is time for another break. We'll take another break, and after we take a break, we will have more after this.
Williams Brewing is your online resource for prompt delivery of quality home brewing supplies. Since 1979, Williams Brewing has offered the finest equipment and the freshest ingredients, backed by the best customer service in the business. Do you like to mash using efficient fly sparging, but would like an easy way to heat your strike and sparge water? Enter the new Brewer's Edge electric mash water heater, a plug-in, anywhere, precisely controlled heater for strike and sparge water. Ditch the fumes and second burner and make mashing easy. Go to williamsbrewing.com today and browse their vast selection. That's williamsbrewing.com. Orders placed by 4 p.m. Pacific Time weekdays ship the same day. Brewing is easy the Williams way.
The 21st Amendment.
Watch out!
Do you like beer? They make beer.
Watch out!
Do you like friends and fun? They make friends and fun.
Watch out!
Do you still like to have a good time? The 21st Amendment.
Watch out!
The 21st Amendment in San Francisco, located at 563 2nd Street, 2 blocks from the building where baseball is seen and played. Try their beers in the pub or try them in the can. Featuring
Monk's Blood.
made with real monk.
Watch out!
So why not have the best time of your life? Go to the 21A and Sean O'Sullivan will personally greet you with a can of
Monk's Blood. The 21st Amendment.
Watch out!
This advertisement is not in any way affiliated nor associated with the 21st Amendment Bar and Pub, nor its subsidiaries or affiliates. This telecast is not copywritten by the 21st Amendment for the private use of the Brewing Network. Any use of this telecast without Jamil Zainashev's consent is prohibited. Suck it, JP.
A few things happened 30 years ago.
ARPANET migrated to TCP/IP, and the Internet was born. Revenge of the Jedi was renamed Return of the Jedi and opened in theaters. Mila Kunis and Emily Blunt were born, beginning a rad fantasy in my mind.
But all of that pales next to the fact that HopTech opened its doors and began blowing homebrewers right out of their mash tuns. HopTech doesn't fuck around. Real people shipping awesome shit straight to you. Their new website is fast and easy to navigate. Or just call 800-379-4677 and let badass bitch Jade and the gadget guy Roberto blow their warm load of customer service all over you. So visit the site or visit the store in Dublin, California, and support those that support you. Get your brewing on at hoptech.com.
Hey, my brewing brothers and sisters. This is Jamil Zainashev, and I love a bold, hoppy beer, one that spits resin in your face and makes you cry uncle. There are a lot of great hoppy beers out there, but at Heretic, we want to make something as bold, dank, and resiny as possible. We use hops at every chance we get, including multiple dry hop additions. The result is Heretic Evil Cousin. This light golden, 8% Imperial IPA has an easy malt character that helps take the edge off the massive bittering, but it takes a back seat to the in-your-face hop character. We make sure this beer finishes dry so the hops can jump out and slam you in the taste buds. If you can't get enough hoppy goodness, Evil Cousin is your cup of tea. Cheers.
Back to the beer guys that make other beer guys look like wine guys. Brew Strong.
I'll tell you a good place to ask your homebrew questions. You know, that BN show, Dr. Homebrew. You can actually send your homebrew in, and they will do a whole analysis of it.
Yeah, it's like an interactive BJCP session
of it. I laughed because you hit yourself in the face with your microphone.
Oh, I thought you were laughing at the interactive. It's like a POV of your BJCP.
No, how much more bass than that? That's just far too erudite for me. No, Dr. Homebrew, they do a whole thing on that. It was kind of cool, I think. So if you get your homebrew questions, you got your homebrew, you send that in, and they do their thing. JP in his magical mystery tour of people.
I got to be honest, though. I've had a number of people drop off homebrew bottles that I've taken home and opened and said, you know what? If that had a label on it, I would not have thought twice. That good. That's solid.
Yeah.
There's some homebrewers out there brewing fabulous beer. I mean, really fabulous beer.
I've had some freaking awesome ones where I drink the whole thing. I'm like, oh, what else did they send me?
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's out there. I mean, I was kind of focusing on the, on the other end, because that's nice. Very nice, Jamil. But I focused on the negative side, but honestly, I've had some really, really high quality beers come through.
We're starting to get more and more of those.
You're
on.
welcome. Those were mine.
We're starting to get some of those on the Sour Hour. We've gotten a couple of homebrewed sour beers that are, like you're saying, they're off the charts. Not only would you mistake them for a commercial beer, but they're dressed up in such a way that you actually would mistake them for a commercial beer. They're wax sealed. One guy even had labels on there, and he had taken barcodes and a government warning and put them on there. And we were like, this is a commercial. I was like confused. I wrote him. I was like, isn't this homebrew? What is the barcode? He's like, it's a random barcode. I don't know.
No, he spent $800 at GS1.
Right.
Yeah, when they get to that point, they've perfected their craft, and they're like, all right, now we're just adding some fluff to the edges. So it's exciting,
It is. The
next
beers
time
were
you get
amazing.
that many beers, you can just throw some my way.
I didn't know you were tasting beers on the Sour Hour.
Well, how could you not?
Well, yeah. I mean, we've had a lot of people offer to send their stuff in. I think a lot of people are eager to get feedback. Maybe they've had something sit in aging for a year or 2 years, and maybe they their palate objectivity's gone, and they kind of want to hear it dissected. And then I think a couple of the guys are just, they know their beer is really good, and they're right. I mean, it's commercial quality sour beer. Yeah, and hey, show off all you want. Keep sending them
you
here.
Just want to slap it up on that table.
Yeah.
Thunk.
Just lay it down.
We're talking about beer, right?
In front of you.
So that was my advice. That's it. It's all about the table.
It's all about the table. What kind of advice would you have, Ken, for your general home brewer? Based on actually, I think you had some great advice as far as percentages, and then let somebody taste the beer.
Well, in pitch rates, get familiarized with MrMalty.com. Get your pitch rate calculator going. Get depending on your batch size, a 2,000 or a 5,000 milliliter Erlenmeyer flask and a stir plate. Mm-hmm. When you get home from work on Friday, shove your wife out of the way, get on the stove, make your 10 Play-Doh, your 1040 starter batch, chill it, put it in the Erlenmeyer, throw in 2 vials or 2 smack packs, whatever.
Scott, aren't you supposed to shove your wife onto the stove and make her cook you food? And
I thought you shoved something into the. Forget it. Keep going with your advice,
the wife.
Get your starter going, and then by the next morning when you're brewing first thing in the morning on Saturday, you've got a frothy Krausen starter, and you can throw that sucker in, and you're going to attenuate. If you get the little packet of dry yeast, and you sprinkle it straight in to your carboy.
You're talking about my cream ale now.
There's no headspace whatsoever. That's where you're going wrong. You've got to pitch. You got to have a proper pitch rate.
It's a really nice cream ale.
Yeah, I think if you dump enough, I want to write off the dry yeast. I've had great results with it. I don't know about consistent, but there's been good stuff there. I think coming from professionals that like to homebrew, they need quick fixes, and those are usually the guys who will bring you something and say, what's wrong with my beer, versus guys who will work through the problem. I mean, you get both ends. It took me 6 months before I took a beer to Jamil, and I was like, I'm going to slide this to you and just be kind. Don't tear it up too much. And it's different. A lot of guys are looking for a quick fix on how to make a professional beer, and some people have the time that they can actually put into it, and they have the patience where they're going to develop a great beer on their own, and the other half are looking for something fast.
Well, I always tell people if you make a beer, I mean, barring some horrible bacterial infection, if you make a beer with some off flavors, drink it. Drink the whole batch.
Oh, I do.
It will teach you a lesson.
It will teach you a lesson, and it will.
You should beat yourself too.
Yeah,
that's what God wanted.
It will motivate you to brew better beer the next time. But all I can say is that when I was learning to brew at home, and I would make a batch that I wasn't thrilled with, instead of just dumping it down the drain and saying to hell with it.
It's a self-flagellation of homebrewing.
Yes, right. That's right. Absolutely. You punish yourself for your mistakes, and you will learn from them much quicker.
Right, yeah. I've dumped, in 3 years, I've dumped a couple of batches just because I couldn't stomach to do it.
Right, if it's making you sick, throw it away.
Right.
I mean,
you know what? Even if it made me sick, but there was a couple where
vomiting
the gag reflex was too strong. Right,
you might lose a few pounds too in the process.
Yeah, right.
Hey,
everybody wins.
You get after it, you don't waste, and that's what the home brewers do. Is they're not wasting, but every tip that they can get. That's why they're so interested. Is they're garnering every little bit of information they can because they want to be better. They want to develop that. Well, just the tip,
right? I think I am absolutely shocked at the quality of homebrew. If you look at Jeremy, he just started. However many months ago, and he's brewing like a madman. But his beers are turning out really good, and he just started. And I think I think a lot of times, we talk about people how many years they've been brewing, but really it's like how many batches have you been brewing? Because I think the more batches you brew, and this is one of the reasons I think a lot of commercial brewers are better than home brewers, is because they brew like every day or every couple of days. They're brewing, and you start resolving those little minor problems that you have when you space it out a couple of months. You forget, and you're like, oh yeah, that was a problem. And so like Scott, when he brews like once every 3 years, or is it once every 7 years? It's like a pestilence or a plague. Yes.
Yeah.
Right. Like locusts. Yes. Then you forget what little details are important.
Yeah, every time becomes like the first time.
Yeah, and I think one of the things I did when I worked software, I got sabbaticals, and so for my sabbatical, I would just brew like 10 times a day, every day, and it was shocking what I would learn in that short period of time because I was just repeating one after the other, and so I'd screwed up the first time, and I'm like, okay, so don't screw that up. And it's, we're only talking a couple hours later, so I would remember. And it became like just second nature to me to not screw up all these tiny little details. And, one tiny little detail in and of itself, it's like somebody's like, I wanted my mash temperature to be 152. It was 153, 154. It's like, not a big deal. But if you take, 100 little screw-ups in a batch of beer, then the end result, not so great. If you have one little screw-up, but 100?
I have a question from the chat from Craft Beer Geek 87. He said, if someone's starting a brewery and has questions about larger systems, like since homebrewers don't want to work with that kind of equipment, is asking for advice about process that way acceptable? So in other words, would you give somebody pro advice who wanted to upgrade?
Yeah, give everybody every advice. Yeah, sure.
Well, what about you, Ken, who's stingy with advice?
Right. Well,
Ken's
honestly,
not stingy with advice. That's why he's on the show all the time.
I do give a lot of advice to people. I don't give recipe information, but I do give a lot of advice. I give a lot of process advice. I give a lot of means and methods. Right. This is the way we do it. If you like our beer, then maybe you might want to try it that way. I get a lot of, especially with the number of shows I've done here, I get tons of emails from startup breweries doing 3 barrels, 5 barrels, 7 barrels. And they're asking me questions. Well, we're doing it on the cheap, and I'm going to try this. And how did you do that without having to buy this piece of equipment that costs $25,000? And I'm very forthcoming with that kind of information. I also direct people to probrewer.com. Like if you go into probrewer.com's forums and you just search. In fact, don't even go onto the forums because their search sucks. You go into Google, you search what you're looking for, and then put the word pro brewer next to it, and it's going to come up, and you'll get 13 threads.
Lots of great advice.
Tons of great advice in there for free. Absolutely.
Well, and check out the Brewing Network. Lots of great stuff on the Brewing Network. I'm just saying. We've answered, a billion questions on Brew Strong over the years, and the whole progasm and all that. And we'd be happy to answer anything about process and all that. I think that there's a certain, here's the thing for me. It's like if you have questions and you've clearly done the work yourself, or you tried to do the work, and you're just like, I'm stuck on this point or that point, and maybe even totally misunderstand. But you've obviously tried to figure it out on yourself. You've done some research. You've done some Googling. You've asked around. You've read some books. You're just like, I don't understand this part of the product. I mean, what the heck? When you're commercial, what is this? I have no problem answering that. What I can't stand is when somebody goes, so tell me, how do I open a brewery? Tell me, explain to me all the differences between, home brewing and commercial brewing. Explain to me how, they want me to teach them a class in an email or while we're standing there drinking at something.
You mean an entire degree program.
Right. And that I find really frustrating. I'm like, do the work. Put your effort in. And then when you're stuck, there's a million people that will help you. I'll help you. Ken will help you. Matt will help you. Everybody will help you with whatever question you have. everybody's very forthcoming in sharing information. But, sometimes people, they're just like freaking lazy.
Well, coming in and asking you how to do it doesn't count as putting the work in. Like, they're like, I'm trying to do the work. I'm asking Jamil.
Well, my favorite moment in the last 6 or 8 months was we were slammed on a Saturday. And when I say slammed, there was a line to the door. And we got people with growlers in hands. We got people with kids and growlers in hands, and they're trying to get in and get out. They're trying to have a pint, whatever it is. And a customer comes up and puts his iPhone right in my face, and it says Ward Labs water report.
Right, and wants to discuss.
And he says, "Tell me what I need to do to my water bill right now.
Yeah.
Tell me what I need to add to my water to make a great IPA." And I was like, "You need to buy Palmer's book called Water and read. That's what you need to do. And what can I get you? Because I got a line."
Yeah, no, I think that's a very appropriate answer. It's like, look, have some understanding that it's a business, for one.
Yeah,
and
be
then,
aware of your surroundings.
If it's slow and you're the only person in there and you're having a pint, I would expect if the person doesn't have to go and do a whole bunch of other stuff. If you're standing around like, checking, Formula One and the person's been sitting there for 3 hours having pints, and the only person, it would probably never happen, but you could expect some discussion. I see no problem with that, but people that do no research whatsoever and then ask questions, I find that very frustrating. I still try and answer them, but I find it very frustrating for me. All right. I also find very frustrating. It's our last break. Let's take our last break, and when we come back, we will wrap up with questions from the pro breweries after this.
BN Army, I'm here to talk seriously for a second. You all are partially responsible for something explosive, and it's time you answer for it.
Moonlight Meadery is exploding.
Yeah, exploding across the country. Wait, they just landed in Australia with insane quality meads.
With nearly 70 different varieties of mead on the market, Moonlight Meadery has blown up the mead category and completely reinvented it.
Seriously? What? Seriously? What? You're paying money for that watered-down mead when you could have a Moonlight mead?
Moonlight meads explode with quality and flavor.
They're a party in a bottle.
Did someone say party?
If you want mead and want the best, you want meads from Moonlight Meadery and will accept nothing less.
And now get 15% off by going to moonlightmeadery.com/BNArmy and use coupon code BNArmy at checkout. Hey, sign me up for that party.
Your support of the Brewing Network means everything to us. We couldn't produce shows without you. And we love giving you something extra for that support, like Brew Your Own magazine. You already know it's a great brewing magazine full of recipes, equipment how-tos, discussions of beer styles, and brewing techniques. Whether you're new to brewing and just starting out or you're an old pro, you'll always learn something from the articles in Brew Your Own. Plus, there are amazing special issues like plans for building a Brutus 10 system, 250 classic clone recipes, and the Homebrewer's Answer Book. Brew Your Own magazine and BYO.com are awesome resources for any brewer, whether for yourself or as a gift. When you subscribe or resubscribe from the Brewing Network homepage, you directly support programs like this. Get a great magazine and support the Brewing Network. Subscribe to Brew Your Own right from thebrewingnetwork.com.
In a world where everything has been lost,
what happened to the city? It's in ruins.
Only one man has the ancient knowledge to restore civilization.
I need a drink. Oh no, the liquor store's been ransacked.
You looking for beer, stranger? Boy, all the liquor got drunk up in the first 25 minutes of the apocalypse.
Wait, there's still some bottles over... Oh, no. Those are non-alcoholic beer.
I reckon you better stick to arrowroot tea and a desperate nomadic existence like the rest of us.
People, I'm a home brewer. I know how to make alcohol.
It can't be done.
Come with me if you want the beer. Okay, I'm gonna need some big plastic buckets.
He is the chosen one. The prophecies say that he's gonna get us wasted.
Someone start heating water.
From the creators of Northern Brewer, the people who brought you massive selection and superior customer service, comes the Homebrewer.
Learning to brew has never been so disgusting. This is Brew Strong.
We're back. We're what did we talk about during the break? We talked about we talked about various things. Yeah, I don't know.
How are you going to get through 2 more shows tonight?
I will. I'm going to go have dinner.
Okay,
and I'll be good when we're back.
Got it. When you come with friends, you enjoy yourself a little bit more. I've noticed.
Are you trying to blame me? Is that
yes?
What the whole point is?
Absolutely.
And when you say enjoy, do you mean drink or what?
I don't know. It's synonymous on this network, isn't it?
Yes, I do enjoy myself during these shows, no matter what. Even when Palmer's not here. All right, so we were talking about what? Where are we? Any more questions from the chat? No. More questions? Wait, where? What the heck? Come on.
See what I mean?
See? Bevo keeps giving me these looks.
I keep trying to tell them that it's just she scowls when she is doing nothing.
No, I actually have been giving him looks.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Looks at me like I'm a poor, retarded, incapable
Pretty
idiot.
much.
Yes. Well, she's captured all, and she knows me. Yeah, there you go. Well, what can I say? All right, so Ken, you want to wrap up? We already did the words of advice, didn't we?
Well, I would think that your best friend is definitely the internet and some good quality books. My favorite books.
Oh yeah, my friend's the internet.
My favorite books are How to Brew by Palmer. I like the BA series, water, yeast, malt, hops. Great books. ProBrewer.com. Even Homebrew Talk. I thought Homebrew Talk, the Brewing Network, podcasts. The information's out there. I think the reality is that people want the quick fix. They don't want to do their own due diligence. They don't want to do their own research. So if you're a home brewer and you're having
a problem with America,
and if you're having issues with your beers, talk to people who have good palates. If you get into a home brewing club, get into Quaff, get into your local home brewing club, and then find the BJCP among you who can actually detect acetaldehyde, and say, hey, this is what's going on. There are people out there that can help you, and there's resources online. There's tons of resources online. Pretty much every answer is out there. You just have to look for it.
What about this? What would you prefer? Somebody has a beer of yours they love and they want to ask you about it. Would you prefer? I understand plenty of people aren't local, but would you prefer they come in and talk to you and find you in the tap room or something, or send you an email?
Oh, I prefer email.
You
because,
do?
Yeah, I don't like talking to people on the phone. I don't like talking to people in person, really.
Really?
Right.
Well, isn't it more time-consuming, though, to type out a response than it is to just talk to them?
No, because they're just like, can you give me any hints on brewing? I just copy and paste the recipe. I'm like, here you go.
Nice. I have his personal number. He won't even answer the phone for me. I have to send him an email, say, where's lunch at?
I do answer your phone call. I don't answer Ken's anymore. He's too many questions. I don't know.
As a beginner, I've been a beginner for 3 years, and the biggest thing is just be patient. And just because it doesn't taste like what you wanted it to, give it to honest people who will drink it and give you honest feedback. Feeding your product to people who will just tell you it's great doesn't make you a better brewer. Just give it to people and try it out.
Well, I think that's a good point, too. Just because the beer didn't turn out the way you thought it would turn out or you envisioned it would turn out doesn't necessarily mean it was bad. It could be it's different, and you're like, oh, what the heck happened? It's like, well, all right. Understand it still could be a really good beer. So you got to, free your mind of what you thought it was going to be, taste it and see. Could be horrible, could be really good, could be, it's just different. And so that's a good point. Open it up and share with other people and see what they tell you as far as the quality of the beer.
Let's wrap it with one straight brewing question from the chat room. Help a guy out so he doesn't have to bug you, on the phone or in person or via email.
Oh, yeah. Bastard.
Evolution Ales wants to know if he wants to add honey to his IPA, should he do so during fermentation or the boil? And also any tips and tricks.
Well, maybe.
I know who can answer that question because I had a delicious called Evil Bee.
Yes, our honey IPA. We added that in the whirlpool, end of the boil. So I'd throw it in end of the boil. Well, I mean, I would have just added it in that fermenter, but it's very difficult when you're dealing with the scale that we're dealing with, and not having just like a big mass of it land on the cone and not go anywhere. So generally end of the boil. But if the thing is, with honey, you can just pour that into a carboy, and then you could rock the carboy and swirl that up and get it all mixed in. If you want a little more honey character, I'd put it in the fermenter. If you don't really care that much about honey character, I'd put it in the boil. There's your answer.
There you go.
Perfect. Another fine show. If you're listening live, stay tuned. Stay tuned for a couple hours, because at 6 o'clock we're coming up with two new episodes of Brewing with Style. We're going to cover Wee Heavy for one and maybe something else for another.
Not cream ale. I know what we're not covering.
We're not covering cream ale. We're waiting on cream ales. And Matt's on the hook to brew that, and there you go. So, coming up at 6 o'clock, 2 live shows with Tasty and John and myself, having some fun doing styles. If you enjoy the show, make sure you check out our fine sponsors, BlickmanEngineering.com, Blickman with 2 N's, Innovating Brew Day. Check out the AHA, check out the other BN shows. Check out the Brewing Network site itself, the BrewingNetwork.com/store. You buy all sorts of goodies there. They got shirts, hats, hoodies, growlers, stickers, books, weed whackers, and more, and kimonos, purple vein kimonos. So, there you go. I guess that's it. I'm out. I'm spent. I'm done. The outro is a little too long. I don't know. I mean, cut that down, 30, 40, 50 seconds. I'm just kind of rambling on here.
No, you talked about Blickman, and it's been the envy of the standard home brewer.
Yes.
It's got a tag on it, and the best thing about it is it's amazing equipment. So it's well worth it.
Innovating your brew day. Brew strong, everybody.